So fun fact about me. I graduated high school when I was 17 years old, and shortly after I left home to pursue acting. And I've worked odd jobs here and there, sort of to keep my head above water while I pursue my passion. And that means that in the 7 years it's been since I left home, I have never gone home for the holidays. And it sucks. I suppose it doesn't get to me as it would others, right? Like, my family was never a big Christmas family. We weren't super religious. We didn't do anything. But it sucks not being with your family when everyone else is. Being raised half Jewish, too, usually I can console myself and say, well, I can do the Jewish Christmas and get Chinese food and see a movie, but sometimes you just really miss that connection that the holidays brings. And today, my roommates all went home for the holidays. And I'm alone in our apartment. Now, there's no way I finish this by the end of the holiday season, but it's something I want to highlight anyway and make a video on regardless, because number one, I think people need it. And number two, I hate to be the first one to say it, but the world is getting lonelier. The world is smaller than ever before, but people have never felt so far apart. Think about how the world used to be. Now, I'm by no means saying we were better off in some idealized past, but think about what society used to look like. Communities were small and tight-knit, impromptu visits were commonplace, and scheduled visits spanned anywhere from a day to a season. People walked regularly to get from place to place, often accompanying others for no reason other than companionship. We gathered in town squares, cafes, markets, and spoke regularly with strangers face to face. Then, somehow it all changed. The world shrunk and communities grew. Anyone or anything became accessible at any time, and our need for convenience and speed ended up being to our detriment. But I think we're starting to realize now that something has been lost. The soul has been taken out of socialization. The male loneliness epidemic, despite now dipping its toes into incel culture, does kind of ring true. But it's not just a male loneliness epidemic, it's a generational loneliness. Even in a place like New York City, where I can walk anywhere, be anywhere, spend time with anyone or anywhere that I want, it feels really alienating sometimes. But we have always been a culture of reaction rather than prevention. Only has this epidemic of loneliness entered the zeitgeist once it has become a problem too large to ignore. And you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone talking about it before this decade. That is, except for one very notable exception. I think a really interesting backdrop for this conversation would come in the analysis of I Love You Man, a movie that came out nearly 15 years ago and is kind of ahead of its time in the way that it talks about adult relationships and friendships. So let's go all the way back to 2009. Because I think this movie has a lot to say about adult friendships, adult relationships, and the way the world that we live in and the American work culture really squanders those opportunities for genuine human connection. But before we get into it, hi, Editor Zephyr here to tell you that this video is sponsored by me! With this video, I am launching my Patreon. If you like these video essays and you want to help me make more, please consider subbing to my Patreon. There's a lot of incentives for patrons that I think will be really cool. The one that I'm most excited for is that subscription to any tier gets you access to my community Discord, the Zephyr Core. I thought it was funny. Anyway, the reason I started making content is because I want to be able to create dialogue around things that I'm interested in. And where better of a place to do that than a community of people that enjoy engaging with me and my content. And honestly, I did not want the barrier of entry for this community to be very high. So literally the cheapest tier is just $1. But if you'd like to and are comfortable giving more, there are other incentives for higher tiers. For example, my Night Owl patrons are welcome to a once-a-month movie night with me to discuss and critically analyze a film that will be used in a later soapbox video essay like this. And if you have an idea for a video essay that you'd like me to explore, the Divination Scholar tier not only grants you access to private chat rooms with me and other divination scholars, but also the ability to suggest video ideas for the rest of the patrons to vote on. I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to share this with you, and I hope you all enjoy it. Also launching with this is live streaming. I am live on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you find me, I am live streaming there. And for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be playing the mainline Sonic the Hedgehog games on stream in order to create a definitive ranking. We are going to find out what the best one is, and we are going to do it together. So if you have the time, I'd love to see you there. And I'm live right now. So if any of this sounds exciting to you, I really encourage you to join me on live or in my Patreon, linked both below. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed the video. So the movie opens with Peter, our main character, proposing to his girlfriend, Zoe, of only 8 months, which is crazy to me. Immediately, Zoe lets her best friends know. Friends she's had seemingly for quite some time, but more importantly, friends that she works with. Friends that she owns a small business with. The film wastes no time commenting on how the working culture that we are in affects the outlook on friendship that we have. The problem is, after Zoe tells everyone, Peter has almost no one to tell. Peter's whole life up until now has been work and Zoe, with very little in between, but he does have some people he can tell. The only people that Peter has to tell about his engagement is his family. So he goes to see them. We meet Peter's family, his father, his mother, and his gay brother. And the reason I say his gay brother is because the movie makes it very known that his brother is gay.
Robbie always managed to have friends. Of course, he probably wanted to suck their dicks, but...
Oswald.
No, Mom, it's cool. I totally did.
But he doesn't have to use that kind of language.
Indeed.
Why? My son is a gay man, and I embrace his lifestyle.
It's true. Dad loves the gays. I actually made him an honorary homo last month.
I knew I liked this movie for a reason. It's 2009 and they're already having this type of discussion about gay people. Do you remember other 2000s comedies? Every other 2000 comedy was a collection of fart jokes, R words, and F slurs. This is already saying, J.K. Simmons, hey, I love gay people. I love my gay son. Based as hell. The thing is, even his family clocks him for not having a lot of friendships growing up or really throughout his life entirely. When Peter pushes back on this, though, he asks his father about his best friends.
Hank Mardukas has been my closest friend since our first year at IBM. And then there's Robbie.
What's up? Hold, Robbie is your other best friend?
Correct. And Hank Mardukas.
That's gotta sting. And I think what the movie already establishes, right, is that this isn't really an abnormal thing. They don't think that he's weird for not having a lot of friends. There's just people that don't.
Why is it weird that I had girlfriends?
Nothing, we're just saying you never really had a best friend is all.
Peter always connected better with women.
Peter's always been a girlfriend guy. He put all his focus and energy into his relationships, and all his dude friends just fell by the wayside.
I think everyone knows how difficult it is to make friends as an adult, especially outside of school or work or places that you go. It's hard to find spots to meet people, especially when you're working 40 hours a week, you get home, you're tired, exhausted. The last thing you want to go do is go somewhere new and try to meet someone new. We live in a productivity-focused society. The world we live in pushes you to always be working. You're supposed to go from your main gig to your side hustle, working to get to the point where you don't need to work anymore, and you can reap the rewards of standing atop those you've trampled underfoot to get there. This obviously isn't conducive to friendships. The generalized reciprocity of true friendships is reserved exclusively for partnerships, if reserved for any relationships at all. In this utilitarian framework, of course we'd start normalizing people who don't have friends. They're too busy grinding away. That being said, though, it does get to Peter. The movie gives us a quick montage of Peter looking around and trying to understand male friendships and how he's never been on one side of one. He goes to work and the people that he talks to and gets along with, all women. But it's clear that there's a disconnect. Peter longs for a male friendship, but as we see, that's kind of difficult given the culture of masculinity, as indicated by his coworker Tim Downey, who's kind of crass and irreverent and kind of a pig.
Hey, Devin.
Hey, man.
What's so funny?
One of the guys in my fantasy football league just sent me a quick time. It's a grandma riding a Sibian machine.
What's that?
It's one of those vibrating saddles that women sit on to give them, like, super intense orgasms.
Oh.
Check it out.
Oh, damn!
How sick is that?
That's very sick.
If you exist outside of traditional masculinity, it is very difficult to be accepted by others inside it. Even the guys that Peter considers his group of friends, he's kind of on the outskirts of.
Hey, so you guys want to, get some grub or grab a beer or something?
We're actually heading up to Joshua Tree tonight.
Oh, yeah? Oh, what's going on up there?
We're just doing this thing for Eugene, kind of a bachelor party / camping trip kind of thing,
I didn't even know you were getting married.
Yeah, taking the leap next Sunday.
Right on. Very cool. Very, very cool. That's cool.
I would have invited you, man. I just didn't think that you'd be into it. You never really come out with us after practice and stuff. So
Oh, no, dude. Seriously, don't even. It's so fine, really. Thanks, though. Thank you. But, it's funny, actually. I just got engaged myself.
Wow.
You did?
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. And you too.
So it really kind of makes you wonder where the fault lies. Is it Peter's fault, or is it just the way the cookie crumbles. Now, earlier I mentioned generalized reciprocity, and that's a very important term for this video. Generalized reciprocity is an anthropological term popularized by Marshall Salins in his 1972 book Stone Age Economics. It refers to the idea that a truly healthy society is founded in the notion that if you do things for others, you do so with no expectation of payment or reward, save for the idea that if you are in need, the same will be done for you. This, as I'm sure you know, has all but dissolved in the modern era, especially considering the scarcity mindset behind success that contemporary grindset culture gives us. The movie is quick to establish a third space for Peter, but it's not one that he really cares about. Peter doesn't seem like he views this as a place to be social. He sees this like the gym, like a place to blow off steam. Third spaces are an important part of a healthy interpersonal culture, with the first space being the home and the second space being the workplace. The third space serves to be a place for recreation and leisure, where one can enrich their identity and sense of self by interacting regularly with other human beings. It's quite literally human enrichment time. For Peter, it is work and home. Those are the two places that he exists. And the thing is, that's how it is for a lot of people in the real world as well. The 5-day, 40-hour work week was created for workers who could never have conceived the idea of a spreadsheet, so it falls apart under modern circumstances. The rise of work-from-home jobs, while undoubtedly attractive, similarly fall apart when you try to make them fit to the same mold. Suddenly, everywhere you go becomes a workplace, and the distinction between work and home spaces all but dissolves. What happens when you don't go places to meet people or socialize anymore, and suddenly running into people in public becomes more and more infrequent? How do you maintain relationships with people knowing that you won't organically see them and have to schedule seeing them into an already overwhelming schedule? Your social life, your identity, and your mental state all suffer. Whether it be due to a lack of walkable cities, the fact that third spaces are now being commodified and you have to spend money to even get in them, or even the fact that getting out of your house is becoming more and more difficult because of how easy it is to get things to you, it's hard to find a third space to be regularly social. To add insult to injury, once he returns home, he finds his fiancée Zoe hanging out with all of her girlfriends and having a great time. Something really interesting that the movie shows is that Peter feels comfortable when he is with women. He feels comfortable being surrounded by femininity. He feels ostracized when in masculine friendships. Peter has a great rapport with the women in his office, especially compared to his rapport with the other men in his office. He gets along really well with Zoe's friends, he seems to be a serial monogamist, and the only friend the film says he's ever had is his mom. But at the same time, he's not fully accepted into feminine circles, as we see at Zoe's bachelorette party. There is no place, no environment, no social circle where Peter feels truly understood and accepted.
I gotta get some fucking friends.
There's also a very non-binary and or trans reading here, but that's besides the point. I think, by the way, one thing this movie does incredibly well is make Paul Rudd not cool, which up until now I had thought impossible. But it's this interaction with Zoe's friends that really makes Peter realize that he has to find some friends. So he plans with his brother and strikes out to do just that. So we see a series of Peter going on these failed mandates, but really all this does for me is solidify how stacked this cast is. Seriously, everyone Peter goes on a mandate with is a very popular comedian or comic actor from the early 2000s. And most of them have only become more famous. And can we take a moment to talk about these mandates for a second? I just want to take a second to highlight how prophetic this was. Bumble BFF, other friend-finding services are the pinnacle of living in dystopian late-stage capitalism. The fact that there are services specifically designed for interpersonal connection because of this aversion to leave your home should absolutely terrify you. I can understand online dating, that's perfectly understandable. I can also understand finding friends organically online in game lobbies or chat rooms. But an online friendship service is so much more dystopian, and it leads me to another topic that we cannot discuss this loneliness epidemic without addressing. I think what this movie also does is that it shows that Peter has it together in every other aspect of his life. It's like that meme with the 3 switches where if you flip 2, the other one turns off. You can have a good relationship and a good work life, but you don't have a good social life. You can have a good work life and a good social life, but you won't have a good relationship. All of these things feel like you can't have it all, and Peter is seeing the effects of that. For example, Peter is an up-and-coming realtor, and a subplot of the story is the fact that he's working on selling Lou Ferrigno's house. Yeah, that's right, that Lou Ferrigno. When Peter goes to show this big open house something he's very excited to do to further his career, it's here that we meet Sydney, who will become Peter's best friend.
Thank you for eating.
I'm the first one, huh?
Yeah.
I never understood why people are so afraid to eat in an open house.
I know.
No.
Now, Sydney is much less put together than Peter is, but what he does have is a really good intuition for people.
You're wasting your time with that couple. Just FYI.
Why do you say that?
I saw the guy pull in. He's driving a Saab 9.3, which I'm not a snob. It's a great car, but it costs $30,000. This house must be, what, $4.2 million? It doesn't quite compute, right?
Well, I hope that's not the case. He told me he was going to make an offer.
I think he's trying to impress that girl he hasn't slept with yet.
How do you know that?
Well, it's body language, you know? Look, that guy needs to fart. It's pretty clear, but he doesn't know her well enough to do it in front of her, so I assume they haven't slept together.
He does seem to be clenching.
Yeah, he doesn't want to fart. Watch, when he gets enough space, he can let one rip, I guarantee you. Oh, that's a good move. Hey, go check out the kitchen, honey. I'll meet you in there. Now watch. Making his move slowly, slowly but surely. Watch the leg. Wait for it. Wait for it. Fart. Boom. That's a fart, motherfucker.
Oh, my God.
That's a fucking fart.
Oh, my God.
Look at him crop dusting across your open house. It's a disgrace.
He farted in my open house.
He sure did.
Again, something this movie does really well is make Paul Rudd the not cool one in a duo. Paul Rudd is always the cool one. If I was casting this movie and you were to tell me that I had between Paul Rudd and Jason Segel to make one of them a lovable doofus and the other one a really cool laissez-faire guy, I would have switched this around, but the two of them really knock this out of the park. When Peter and Sydney meet though, there are sparks. It is a legitimate meet cute. This movie treats this friendship like it is a relationship. So naturally, Peter's afraid to call Sydney. He doesn't want to rush into things. He doesn't want to mess things up. I touched before on the societal idea of generalized reciprocity being reserved for partnerships and not for friendships, but the differences in effort that we give to friendships and partnerships extends far further than that, despite how similar these two relationships are. I'll let past me explain it further. Do you struggle with differentiating between platonic and romantic attraction? Because if so, same. Welcome to the club. One of my best friends recently told me that I look at my close friends with the same intensity that they would look at a lover. And they're right. They're absolutely right about that. And I always sort of understood that I was different from other people in that way, but I never really understood the gravity of it until it was literally placed out in front of me. Because yeah, the parameters of these relationships maybe are different, but the intensity of the feelings that I would feel for a partner and my best friend are largely the same. Would I love my best friend more than I would love my partner? Do I love my sister more than I love my brother? Like, the ancient Greeks believed in several different kinds of love. Erotic love, affectionate love, familial love, all the way up to agape, the selfless, unconditional love that you can feel for another person. And I think when we stopped viewing love with that nuance and just sort of took it to be this one all-encompassing thing, we lost something. Because love, at a certain degree, is all equal, even if different. And I believe that if we as a society started viewing love this way, it would probably change a lot of things for the better. So let's talk about Sydney, because he's a very interesting character when you consider how Peter interacts with men and women. Peter does not get along with your stereotypical man, and Sydney is anything but your stereotypical man. Where every other man in this movie is posturing, trying to put up a front, Sydney is really the only one who lets himself be himself, and also sees through the facade that other people put up.
All right, how's the sex?
It's a little private, wouldn't you say?
Look, it's something we think about on a second-to-second basis, and yet we're not supposed to talk about it? Why?
Well, I guess no one's really ever asked me before, but it's good. Sex is good.
Oh, boy. What? Oh, boy. Well, your voice went up when you said that.
So?
It means you weren't being entirely truthful. Look, I don't know this girl. You can talk to me. What's the deal?
Sydney is another man who exists outside of that masculine spectrum, but isn't really on the feminine side of the spectrum that Peter's used to. But it's literally indicated in his name, Sydney. It is a gender-neutral name. Peter and Sydney go on a mandate of their own, and we continue to break the mold here by breaking all of the rules that Peter went into these mandates with, like staying for dinner. But unlike his other experiences where they ended disastrously when he broke the rules, it ends up going really well.
Excuse me, you guys finishing up here soon? Oh, no, sorry, Chief. We're actually staying for dinner.
No, actually, I already have a dinner plan with my fiance.
No, dude. This place has the best fish tacos in the world. Literally, ranked. You gotta have one. Or two. It's the Pico de Gallo, man. Seize your hands. We're barbarians, after all, man. Every once in a while, I go down to the boardwalk and I just throw my own feces like a gorilla.
The conventions we have for any relationship, in any form, these arbitrary rules that we set for ourselves really fall apart when you meet the right person. Where you see Peter and Sydney really start to bond is where Sydney sort of breaches the topic of intimate matters, right? Sexuality. Previously, Peter had noticed and sort of been uncomfortable with how candid Zoe is with her other friends. He doesn't really have anyone that he can talk to like that. That's a running theme throughout this movie. J.K. Simmons and Andy Samberg have a very open, irreverent relationship with each other. Peter has found someone who he can be irreverent and transparent with, even if it's a little bit crass, but it's in a different way than the other men in the story were, where it was not from a place of authenticity.
I don't know, I mean, I guess maybe sometimes I wish that she enjoyed,
Getting in the tush?
No.
Oh.
No.
That's my bad.
oral sex.
Oh, she doesn't like to put it in the mouth?
I can't believe I'm telling you this. I don't even know you.
I think Sydney really lays it out so perfectly.
You know what? I just realized something. I never even asked you if you were interested in buying a house.
Oh, no. No, why would I be?
Well, it's just when you called me back, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about real estate or...
You just seem like a good dude. I thought I'd see if you wanted to grab a beer, that's all.
He just seemed like a good dude. I wanted to grab a beer. That's all. That's all it has to be. Peter has spent this whole movie doing something that I think a lot of people do as well, predicating your intimacy on these preconceived notions of what a relationship should look like, how it should begin. But for Sydney, all of that is thrown out the window. This convention is non-existent for him. And again, this movie does something so beautiful with this after-date exchange, where Peter is just sitting there on the sidewalk like an idiot after experiencing something magical.
I'm drunk. I'm gonna call a cab.
All right, man. You have my number, yeah?
I got you stored in my iPhone.
All right. If you need me, call, okay?
Oh, man, I'm golden.
Yeah. All right, bud.
All right, man.
Have a good night.
I don't know the number for a taxi.
I'm sure this has happened to everybody, though. You get hit with that initial adrenaline from liking someone, and then unsure of what to do with it, you don't do anything with it. In her book All About Love, Bell Hooks talks about cathexis, this Freudian term that means the initial shock to the system that a strong connection will get you. It's not quite limerence, in the sense that it's not delusional, though it can become limerence if left unchecked, but I'm sure you've heard the idea that love affects the brain in a similar way that a drug does, and this cathexis is just that. The first hit. That first hit is intoxicating, and also potentially overwhelming when you're not used to it. You have all this feeling and nowhere to direct it. This just goes to show you there is no difference between a strong relationship and a strong friendship. They are one in the same. When you are seen by someone, when you feel understood by someone, that feeling of butterflies that you get from genuine connection is real in any context. However, as is the case with a lot of connections, it hits hard, then fades fast because you start to doubt yourself. It's interesting, right? Because we see Sydney and Peter lose that connection they once had, and it's because Peter starts doubting himself. When you feel a strong connection with someone, a lot of people tend to recoil from that. Call it avoidant attachment, call it self-preservation, call it what you will. For Peter, I think, though, it comes from a lack of self-actualization. Peter doesn't know himself well enough to know what he wants to be, even less so what he wants to be in a friendship. I often find that serial monogamists and or people that have been in relationships from a very young age tend to have an underdeveloped sense of self, leading to a general sense of insecurity in their capability and identity as an individual. Of course Peter is uncomfortable with Sydney getting to know him. He's still figuring out who that is. What brings Peter out of this initial place of hesitancy is the fact that Sydney asks Peter questions that he hasn't thought yet to ask himself, ranging from simple things like what are your passions and interests, i.e. their shared love of music, specifically Rush, to heavy questions like why does he want to marry Zoe, a question he's never really thought about, so he doesn't have an answer. He just knows that he loves her.
All right, let me ask you a question. Why are you marrying her?
What kind of question is that?
Well, it seems to me like you've gone from relationship to relationship. So, is Zoe the one, or is she just the next one?
No, she's the one.
All right, well, how come?
Because. I don't know, we're in love. And, that's a hard question to answer.
Oh, listen, I'm not trying to push you at all. It's just, for me, sometimes talking this stuff out helps to clarify things. That's all. Let's go try on some penguin suits.
Sydney, of course, is irreverent, but it does highlight that need for different relationships and the different uses they play in your life. Sydney is the catalyst for Peter's self-actualization. He allows Peter to be himself, question himself, and voice things he's never voiced with anyone else, such as his intimacy issues with Zoe. And that's healthy, by the way. It is healthy to have people in your life with whom you can vent small frustrations about your partner with. To put it in another light, if your sibling pisses you off, you can tell your friend or your other sibling. That person doesn't stop being your sibling, you don't love them any less. You vent your frustrations in a very clear way to someone who understands, and you move on. The problem is when a lot of people vent frustrations with their partners to their friends, they become very intense about it. When in reality, that shouldn't be the case. Frustration is normal. And the hallmark of a truly great friendship is someone who can hear these gripes that you have with your partner and also still respect and cherish your partner as a valued part of your life. Case in point. And then comes the engagement dinner, where it all sort of comes to a head, where Sydney finally meets the rest of Peter's life. And it's cringy as hell. See, here's the thing, right, with being totally honest and candid like that, is you're gonna risk people not liking you. And Sydney almost rocks the boat too much here.
Zoe, you are about to marry one of the most honest, kind, and fun-loving people I've ever had the honor of knowing. The pistol is a pleasure giver, that's for sure.
Yeah. Fucking puke pistol.
And the thing about a man like that, a man like Peter, is that he never asks for anything in return. And that's why I'm here. I'm here as Peter's friend, as Peter's confidant. Just to say to you, beautiful Zoe, give it back. Yeah? Return the favor.
Yeah, it's rough and it's cringy and it's exposing, but the thing is, it actually weirdly helps Peter and Zoe's relationship. He highlights something here that Peter is lacking in. Peter is passive.
What the hell did you tell Sydney about me?
Nothing. I mean, aside from how much I love you.
So what was with all that pleasure giver stuff?
I might have mentioned in passing or something that you don't like doing oral sex.
Ew! Peter, that stuff is private.
Oh, is it? Really? And telling Haley and Denise about the hot tub in Mexico isn't?
That is so different. I've known them forever.
So?
Peter sees Sydney's like a stranger.
Hardly. He's become a really good friend of mine.
Right.
And now you know how I feel when there's no privacy between you and your girlfriends.
I thought you loved those guys.
I do. I love them. But, some things I want to remain between you and me.
Okay. By the way, it's not that I don't like doing it. It's just that Rodney just hated getting them.
Wait, what guy hates getting blowjobs?
He had some weird intimacy problems, okay? By the end of our relationship, he would literally shiver when I touched him. But before that, I always liked it. I liked it.
Great. That's great.
And in bringing something up that probably should have stayed private, he made it so that Peter can talk about what he wants and advocate for himself in the open, which he hadn't been doing. The thing about growth, though, is that it's not always easy. In fact, more often than not, it's really difficult. Remember that question Sydney asked Peter earlier?
Why are you marrying her?
What kind of question is that?
Yeah, that one. Well, it turns out that Peter hasn't been able to answer it for himself, and so he turns to Zoe to see if she had the same question as well. And it goes about as well as you think it would.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you think we're getting married?
What are you talking about?
No, Sydney asked me that question, and well, why Zoe? And I didn't know how to answer it.
Are you kidding? You're kidding, right?
Yes.
2 weeks before our wedding, and you don't know why you're marrying me?
Just forget it. It was a stupid question. I don't know what I was thinking. Just forget. Take it back 10 seconds before I asked it. And let's live in that time.
The thing is, Peter, I get why you would wonder that. I do. But I wish you would have answered the question before you proposed to me.
That's the thing. Before, I didn't even think about it. That came out bad, too. I'm confused. I don't know what I'm saying.
Let me just make this a little simpler for you. I'm gonna go stay with Denise and Barry, and you and your bud Sydney can hang out and beat up Lou Ferrigno and go to Rush concerts and ride a tandem bicycle down the Venice boardwalk for all I care.
We never rode bicycles.
Goodbye.
Zoe, come on. This is ridiculous. Zoe!
I love Rashida Joy. I love the way that this movie writes Zoe. She never overreacts about anything. She's never commandeering of Peter. She's always understanding. But at the same time, she raises valid critiques and opinions that, of course, in a healthy relationship are valid to be proposed. And she's like, yeah, I get that you would feel this way, but yeah, dude, we're going to get married in 2 weeks. I think you should have this figured out. God, I love her as an actor. I love this character. I love the way they wrote her, because especially in early 2000s movies, in the odds, God, so many evil woman girlfriend stereotypes that just the ball and chain. You know what I mean? God. Rashida Jones, you are a treasure. Now, how does Peter react to this fight? Does he work inwardly and see it as a place for him to grow? No. He blames Sydney. He goes to Sydney's place and tells him their friendship is over, and they shouldn't see each other anymore because Sydney has been a bad influence on him.
Oh, well, in one day you managed to screw my career, you ruined my relationship.
Whoa, what are you talking about, ruin your relationship?
Zoe walked out on me because I asked her why we were getting married.
Why would you ask her that, Pete? That conversation was between you and me. You can't have that talk with her. Look, I assumed you understood that.
God, I'm so sick of your ridiculous rules. I like it that I can share things with Zoe. I like it that if I can't sleep at night, she's there to talk to. Do you know the best night I've had in the last 5 years is a night that Zoe and I split a bottle of wine, we made a summer salad, and watched chocolat together?
You mean chocolate?
You know, I think you're threatened by what Zoe and I have because you're afraid I won't be able to hang out every night.
Hey, you know what? I have a ton of friends, all right?
Yeah, who are all moving on with their lives. They're in relationships. They have kids. They're growing up.
Hey, let's not forget, you were the one using me.
I think we were using each other.
I think we were using each other. Fuck, dude. Fuck. We're all using each other. We are all trying to find fulfillment through other people. We are all trying to find connection through other people. We are all trying to be understood by other people. We are all using people fundamentally. But where's the harm in this, right? I'm sure you've heard the cynical philosophical assertion that there is no such thing as a truly selfless act. The human brain is wired for reproduction and herd mentality, and what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The reason that we feel good after being nice to others or helping others is not because there exists any altruism in the human brain. No. It is in fact because helping others to survive increases our own chances of survival. Love is a chemical effect we've evolved to incentivize reproduction. I could go on and on. Peter is sinking into this mentality. Sure, at its most basic, abstract level, you can view trying to get someone to like you as manipulation. You can view friendship or any relationship as a mutual using of one another. But I don't think that's a bad thing. Uncomfortable to think about, maybe, but not bad. Love in any form is work, and it is hard, but it is also reciprocal. And true love inspires growth in return. Uncomfortable, exposing, and painful growth. And that's what's beautiful about it. Is getting married, getting into a relationship, having a best friend, is that using someone? If you're just looking for a connection? I don't think so. But it kind of is. Peter, insecure in his own identity and uncomfortable at the prospect of continuously challenging this identity due to his fruitful friendship with Sydney, blames the pain of this growth on his friend and not on his own insecurity and passivity, and so the two of them go through a friend breakup. Friend breakups are an important aspect of this loneliness epidemic we find ourselves in the middle of because no one expects them due to how we view friendships. We view romantic partnerships as reciprocal, where one has to pull their weight, potentially even to an unrealistic degree, but friendships are the opposite. People often neglect friendships, which is why friend breakups hurt so bad. You don't anticipate losing a friend the way you do a lover. Listen to Castle in Hollywood by Leve. That shit bangs. Okay, cool. I've mentioned bell hooks and Leve in the same video. I will never escape the performative allegations. And of course, to add insult to the injury of this friend breakup, Sydney put up billboards all over town for Peter's real estate, which he finds on his drive back home. Embarrassed, alone, feeling like a failure, Peter is at his lowest point before he realizes just how much all of this has benefited him. His relationship with Zoe is strengthened more than ever now that he knows why he wants to be with her.
Zoe, look, I'm so sorry that I asked you why you thought we should get married. It's just that I've been talking about this stuff with Sydney and, you know, it made me nervous.
Peter, I'm nervous too. Okay, it's a big deal. I couldn't believe actually how sure you seemed about the whole thing, which is why I freaked out when you all of a sudden started questioning it.
Well, I'm sure about us for so many reasons. Truth is, I've been a girlfriend guy, but out of all those girls, you're the only one that wanted me to have my own life. You know? You want me to have friends for me, not you. It's like one of the most romantic things I could ever think of. Zoe, I love you, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Can we get this engagement back on track?
Okay.
And his professional life benefits from his relationship with Sydney because the billboards that he put up are actually really effective advertisements.
Yeah, is this Pistol Pete?
I have a home in Los Feliz, and I've been trying to sell it, and I saw your billboards. I'm very impressed with your ads.
License to sell? That's hysterical. It's like James Bond.
Hi, I'm interested in buying the Ferrigno estate. If you could give me a
Once again, Peter is at the same place he was at the beginning of the story. A happy relationship, a successful career, but lacking a close friend. But the movie delivers on its final classic rom-com trope. Sidney makes it just in time for a final confession of love to his best friend. It's a mutual recognition of the importance these two men have in each other's lives, and it's a testament to the impact that they have had on each other to make their lives better. Peter found someone in Sidney that challenges him to grow, and Sidney found someone in Peter that accepts him for who he is.
I don't want to object. I just wanted to make it in time for the vows. That's all. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Sidney, come up.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Back here.
Please, yes.
You sure?
Yes. I hope you don't mind.
You invited him?
Well, I saw you walking on the lawn looking all sad, and I realized I couldn't let you get married without your best man.
I love you so much.
Zoe, thanks so much for inviting me.
Of course. You got here really fast.
Yeah, you know, when I was on the Vesp, so I just did the old weaveroo.
Dude, you're lying. Your voice went up when you said that.
Look, I was on my way when Zoe called. Invite or not, there was no way I was gonna miss your wedding.
Sidney, I'm really sorry for all the stuff that I said.
Pete, you called me on a lot of my issues. I appreciate it.
I'm really glad you're here, Sidney.
Me too.
I can't even imagine getting married without you. I love you, man.
I love you too, bud.
I love you, dude.
I love you, bro Montana.
I love you, Holmes.
I love you, Broseph Goebbels.
I love you, Machacha.
I love you, Tico Brohe.
Okay. All right. Let's continue here.
I so want to marry you.
You will.
I'm going to.
Because it is love. It is love, right? That is what it is between two best friends. It is love. And if you can't recognize that love is love, you need to do some looking at your friendships, man. If you don't love your friends with the same intensity that you would love your spouse, you're doing it wrong. I started out watching this movie feeling really sad. And I have now come to the end of this movie, and I feel better. And I don't know what this video is going to be yet, but it helped me. And I hope this video can help you if you're feeling alone. Not just for the holidays, but in general. Because feeling lonely sucks. I love you, man. Thanks for watching.